This is the moment Washington doesn't want you to look at too closely, because while the cameras are pointed at explosions overseas, a quiet conversation just started about a $100 billion bill that could hit your life in ways no one is being upfront about. And here's the part they're not saying out loud. They're already debating what you are going to lose to pay for it. This isn't abstract geopolitics. This is your rent, your groceries, your healthcare. Because the way this funding is being structured, it's not just new spending, it's offsets, cuts, trade-offs. And in Washington, those trade-offs don't come from defense contractors or billionaires. They come from programs people actually depend on. And here's where it gets even more real. While most people were asleep, conversations started about attaching this war funding to a must-pass bill, meaning lawmakers won't get a clean vote on whether this war should even continue. It's a legislative squeeze play. Vote yes, or risk being blamed for abandoning troops already deployed. Look at what's happening behind the scenes. The cost of this war is already exploding. Carrier strike groups costing hundreds of millions per month. Jet fuel prices surging, reservists being called up en masse and put on payroll, and weapons systems being burned through faster than they can be replaced. A single advanced drone can cost tens of millions, while opposing forces are deploying ones that cost a few thousand. That's not just a gap, it's a structural failure. And that leads directly into the political trap. Once you're in a conflict like this, the argument shifts overnight. It's no longer, should we be here? It becomes, how dare you not fund it? That pressure is deliberate. It forces lawmakers into a corner where the only politically survivable move is to keep the money flowing, no matter the long-term consequences. Here's the pattern most people are missing. There is always money for war. Always. But when it comes to healthcare, housing, childcare, suddenly the country is broke. That contradiction isn't about economics. It's about priorities. Supporters of the funding will say this is about national security, about protecting stability, about not leaving forces vulnerable mid-conflict. And that argument carries weight. No one wants to see troops put at risk. But it deliberately skips over how this started. No clear authorization, no overwhelming public support, and no serious plan for the economic fallout. Because those costs don't stay contained. They spread. Oil prices spike, inflation creeps up, corporations use the moment to quietly raise prices even more. So you pay 3 times, through taxes, through higher living costs, and through cuts to public services. And history is very clear on this. Wars like this don't get more popular, they get more expensive, more drawn out, and more politically toxic. We've seen this cycle before, and it rarely ends the way leaders promise at the beginning. So now we're staring at the real question. If this turns into a choice between funding this war and protecting basic programs people rely on, what happens next? Because that's not just a budget debate. That's a test of political priorities in real time. And I want to hear from you. If Washington asks the public to accept cuts at home to fund this war, do you think people will go along with it? Or are we looking at the beginning of a major political backlash? More importantly, is this just one funding fight, or the start of a much bigger pattern that's about to reshape everything?